In this episode, we are doing the exterior insulation for our flat roof. And right now we have a little problem if we leave it as it is. Can you tell what it is? Let's talk about it. So you probably saw in our main roof episode that the transition between sloped roof and flat roof, it was creating sorts of issues. We had some leaks, and turns out that with this flat roof, we also had some leaks. So I don't know, maybe you shouldn't build a flat roof if you have the option, but if you're doing it, this is what we are doing in our case. The very first thing we did here was we went and we reapplied every single piece of zip tape to make sure that everything was in perfect condition. That's the very first thing we did. The second one was wherever we saw a crack, a little hole, whatever it was, we came and we applied through the roof to make sure that everything was protected. After that, here is what we did. We decided to install Grace Ice and Water Shield. Now the thing is, Ice and Water Shield is not designed for flat roofs. So what's going on in here? Well, here's the thing. So we're going to install the exterior insulation and then we're going to apply the second deck, but we want to protect this first deck just in case something came through. This Grace and Ice and Water Shield is going to give us that extra layer of protection so that nothing can get into the main structure. With that, well, this is what we did. We have everything in place. We also covered a little bit the transition from the roof to the flat wall. And with that, let's continue. So here we are again applying Master Flame. If you have been following us, you already know what it is. It's Intumenscent paint. So what that does is you apply it to the material, and if there's any extreme heat, it's going to start expanding like popcorn and it's going to create a layer so that the material doesn't burn, at least not as quickly. But here's the big find from this video. We got this awesome sprayer. I got it from Amazon. It's one of those Chinese brands. I don't remember the name, but the beauty is that it works with the wall batteries and it works amazing. So we totally recommend getting one of these. It's I would say that you waste a bit more Master Flame because you're going to spray more, but it's way faster than doing it with the roller as we were doing, so totally recommend it.
It might turn out that you're not surgeons, I'm not a surgeon, so what that means is we end up with gaps like this, where you end up with cuts that are not absolutely perfect. What we end up doing to finish this assembly is we use GreatStuff spray foam insulation. We actually purchased this gun. We were a little cheap to begin with, but it really saves you time. It's a great investment. We always use the fire retardant version, which is what you see right here. The fire retardant version is orange, and it's used for stairs and all sorts of different applications. It's orange because that way the inspector can come and see immediately that it's fire retardant. So basically we end up filling all these gaps, and that way we end up with a top-notch assembly. So just wanted to show you. As you can see, we finished this roof. Now we moved at lightning speed. So we got the framing done, the insulation, the sheathing, the taping, the big stretch, all taken care of in basically one day. So there was no time to talk. We just were going. That said, this is a good time to stop and mention a lot of things that took place. First, in the original requirements from the engineer for the main roof, he requested to put ledger locks like these ones. I actually got this from Ace. These are just 5 inches, and we put this on. We basically ended up putting like a ledger on the back so that the sheathing has a nice place to sit on. So we ended up using these ledgers, and then of course you might know by now that these are my favorite screws, the Simpson HD Titan HD. This is how we SDWS timber screw. This is how we fasten the extensions to the rafters down below. So that's how we built the little sandwich, if you will. To be honest, like I said, these guys are tanks. I highly recommend them. And another really nice feature about them is that they have a flat head. So when you screw it, it basically goes flat and you don't have to worry about it. All right, so hopefully Marcela got that on camera. If not, it's fine. You've seen it many times. So now why don't we talk a little bit of insulation? We got two kinds of insulation. If you've seen any of the videos that we've done before, you might know by now that we had problems getting material from rock wool. So because of that, we actually had to rethink our insulation strategy. We were going to be using this Polyiso everywhere, but then we got lucky. But first, let me mention what's going on with Polyiso. Polyiso is the cream of the crop when it comes to R values, about 6.5 or up to 7 R per inch. So these 2 inches are effectively like 14 R. So it's super awesome. It's super light. That's kind of nice too, because the engineer had shown up and he had complained that he didn't design it for the extra weight and whatnot. Installing this is basically nothing. I believe the weight of this is like 0.33 pounds per square foot. So basically nothing. But then what happened is we went to IBS. We got lucky. We found another mineral wool company, and they are Powerwool. So here's a little piece of Powerwool. It's mineral wool, so this one is 4.2 R per inch, so basically 8 R for the 2 inches. And the reason we actually use this and love it is because we're in a fire-prone area. If you've seen us before, we try to protect the house as much as possible against fire. This has awesome properties. It's great against fire. It's kind of hydrophobic, so you can pour water on it and it'll just run off, and it's vapor open, so basically if it does get wet, it can dry to the outside. Oh, and one bonus thing is bugs hate it. Many nice things about it. One of the disadvantages of it is that it's kind of heavy. That's why in a combination between the Polyiso and the Powerwool, we're doing great. I guess one downside too is that it's a little bit more expensive. Unless you're in a fire prone area, maybe you should rethink your insulation strategy. Awesome. So with that, you might think that we're done, but not really. So let's go back there and I'll show you one last thing. We haven't actually finished this baby roof. The reason for that is because we are installing concealed gutters and we haven't actually installed it. So that's why this remains open. As soon as we get that gutter, or actually downspout, installed, we should be able to finish this roof with insulation and everything. We are making a hole in this roof and it's going to be concealed because down here there's nothing. This is just a decorative roof, so that's why we're doing that. Let me show you up close. There you can see the hole for the downspout, and we actually have a video coming out, or it might have come out, I have no idea, related to gutters and downspouts, so you can see all of that in that video. This is the concealed gutter we were waiting to finish. As you can see, it's actually going through the roof. It's pretty awesome. We're very, very excited about it. We're going to have a full concealed gutter video later on sometime. You might notice it's fully taped. So we're doing that just so that if water does manage to get in through there, the wood doesn't get wet, it's protected. And then finally, of course, this roof is actually an aesthetic roof. So we're staying outside of the house. And now we're done with this episode, but I did want to answer a couple questions related to our previous exterior insulation on the roof, and that is related to the Polyiso and the reflective cover. So yes, Polyiso is great for conduction, so that's basically when you transfer heat by touch, and then this reflective cover is for reflecting the radiant heat that may come from the sun, for example. Part of the reason, as I mentioned through the video, is we were having issues getting mineral wool, so that's why we ended up getting Polyiso. And then another reason why we're installing Polyiso as a first layer is because of weight. The engineer came over, he said that Powerwool was too heavy, so that's why we're putting our first layer of Polyiso. And then of course it has an amazing R value. For conduction, I believe is 6.4 or 7 per inch. A lot of the comments were about needing to have a gap on the reflective cover, and yes, that is true, but air actually does have an R value of 1 R per inch. So actually air does conduct heat as well. So then I was thinking, like, when you think about it, when you're like in school and they teach you about optics and how water goes in through the water. It actually deflects and all that stuff. So by putting the mineral wool on top of it, that's actually just changing the medium. So if we think about air has 1 R value per inch, and if we put mineral wool 2 inches, we actually have about 8 inches of insulation. So I actually do think that that does work better than air. Now that said, mineral wool does block a lot of visible light, but if any light does get through and it can be reflected by this, great. But like I said, we didn't do it precisely because of that reason. So anyway, if you think I'm wrong, please comment down below, and we'll see you on the next episode.